Have you ever wondered if your sexual health could improve as you age, or if there are hidden mistakes that could be silently affecting your well-being? As you enter your 70s and beyond, your body changes in ways you might not even notice, and those changes could be impacting your intimacy, energy, and overall quality of life. But here's the truth. You don't have to accept these changes as limitations. In this video, we'll dive deep into the 5 most common masturbation mistakes older men make and how they could be doing more harm than good. These aren't just physical issues. They could be emotionally and mentally draining your vitality without you realizing it. We'll also explore practical, expert-backed tips that can help you maintain healthy, joyful sexual habits well into your later years. By watching until the end, you'll discover how small adjustments can make a big difference in your health, your happiness, and your relationship with yourself. Whether it's avoiding overstimulation from pornography, understanding prostate health, or learning to embrace your body's changes with respect and care, this video will empower you to make positive changes. So, stick with me, because the lessons we share today could be exactly what you need to reclaim your vitality and intimacy at any age. If you are not subscribed, I recommend subscribing and activating the notification bell so you don't miss any videos. Your support means a lot to me, and if you enjoyed this video, you can help me continue spreading the valuable lessons by liking and sharing it. Mistake 1. Ignoring the body's new limit. As men enter their golden years, the body undergoes a series of changes, some subtle, some profound, that are often overlooked but deeply important. After the age of 70, systems within the body, such as the heart, blood vessels, nervous system, and even the skin sensitivity, begin to respond in ways that are starkly different from how they functioned in younger years. These changes are natural, but unfortunately, many older men fail to recognize them and continue to masturbate in the same intense, rushed, and forceful manner they did in their youth, unaware of the immense strain they are placing on their aging bodies. Vigorous or hurried self-pleasure might seem like an innocuous part of life, but it can be physically exhausting. It can also trigger short-term symptoms such as dizziness, a racing heartbeat, or muscle cramps. Though these reactions may seem minor, they are telling your body that something is amiss. Over time, repeated overexertion during masturbation can cause significant stress to the cardiovascular system. This is especially dangerous for those already managing conditions like high blood pressure, heart disease, or diabetes. What may have once been an invigorating experience can now be silently damaging. But that's not all. One of the most overlooked aspects of self-pleasure is the strain placed on the pelvic floor muscles during climax. These muscles work hard during the act of self-pleasure, and when overused or strained, they can become tight, fatigued, and even painful. The consequences of this strain can be far-reaching. Urinary difficulties, groin discomfort, and in more severe cases, incontinence. Doctors are urging older men to approach this aspect of their lives with a new sense of self-respect and care. Masturbation should no longer be about performance or intensity, but about nurturing your body and reconnecting with your sense of pleasure. It's time to rethink what self-pleasure truly means in this stage of life. It's not about how fast, how strong, or how intense the experience is. Rather, it's about embracing relaxation, honoring your body, and supporting your overall well-being. Gentle touch, slower rhythms, and creating a peaceful, calm environment can not only heighten your pleasure but also protect your body from unnecessary harm. In fact, by slowing down and paying attention to your body's needs, you might experience even greater satisfaction and deeper connection. Incorporating deep breathing techniques, maintaining proper posture, and allowing yourself to take breaks as needed can help reduce risk and enhance the experience. This stage of life presents a powerful opportunity to redefine what pleasure means to you. The truth is, listening to your body instead of fighting it is not a sign of weakness, it's a mark of wisdom. You are not less of a man because you have slowed down. On the contrary, you are honoring your body and mind in a way that will serve you better in the long run. You may find that by taking your time, you uncover more depth, more sensitivity, and more satisfaction than ever before. Your body is speaking. Now is the time to truly listen. However, the physical aspect of self-pleasure is just one part of the equation. The emotional and mental sides of this habit are just as important, yet often go unnoticed. The next mistake, although subtle, can quietly rewire your brain in ways that diminish joy, dull real-life intimacy, and even impact your memory. Let's explore that now. Mistake 2. Using pornography that overstimulates the brain. In today's digital age, pornography is more accessible, more stimulating, and more fast-paced than it has ever been. For younger men, the brain is still flexible enough to recover from frequent visual overload, but for older men, especially those over 7, the overstimulation caused by pornography can silently reshape how the brain responds to pleasure, intimacy, and arousal in negative ways. Many older men turn to internet pornography without realizing the unique risks it presents at this stage of life. When the brain is exposed to sexual stimulation, it releases dopamine, the chemical that triggers feelings of pleasure and reward. But when this stimulation is repeated too frequently through highly stimulating pornography, the brain begins to adapt. Over time, it starts to demand more intensity for the same level of satisfaction, creating a cycle of diminishing returns. What once felt fulfilling now requires more stimulation to achieve the same effect. This can lead to a condition known as dopamine desensitization, where real-life experiences such as intimacy with a partner, meaningful touch, or even casual conversation no longer elicit the same emotional reward. What once felt fulfilling begins to feel flat, dull, or disappointing. For older men, this is especially damaging. As natural hormone levels decrease with age, the brain's ability to regulate emotional highs and lows becomes more fragile. Flooding it with constant artificial sexual imagery can interfere with memory, focus, and overall mood, leaving men feeling disconnected and emotionally drained. Moreover, some men report feeling increased anxiety, irritability, or frustration after consuming pornography, particularly if it's being used as a coping mechanism for loneliness, boredom, or sadness. What may initially seem like a private, harmless habit can erode emotional resilience, diminish mental clarity, and further isolate individuals from the very connections they crave. Experts recommend that older men replace overstimulating material with gentler alternatives. Erotic literature, softer visual content, or even reconnecting with one's imagination can provide stimulation without overloading the brain's reward system. By making this shift, men often experience more meaningful self-exploration and enjoy a greater sense of mental clarity and emotional balance. This approach fosters a healthier, more balanced relationship with their sexuality, one that honors both their physical and emotional needs. Ultimately, the key to pleasure and intimacy in later years lies in balance and awareness. The most fulfilling experiences are not found in rushing or overstimulating the mind, but in embracing gentleness, listening to the body, and approaching intimacy with respect, patience, and a renewed sense of self. Reconnecting with one's own body and mind can lead to a deeper, more meaningful experience of pleasure and intimacy that transcends the superficial demands of youth. Some men report a troubling increase in anxiety or irritability after frequent pornography use, especially when it's used as a form of escape from deeper emotions like loneliness, boredom, or sadness. What might seem like a private, harmless habit slowly begins to erode emotional resilience and cognitive clarity, subtly but powerfully chipping away at the foundation of mental well-being. The temporary release that comes from indulging in overstimulating material may seem like a safe refuge, but over time, it leaves the mind fatigued, dulled, and detached from more meaningful connections. Doctors and mental health experts are now urging men to replace overstimulating content with gentler alternatives. Erotic literature, softer visual content, or simply reconnecting with imagination can provide a source of stimulation without overwhelming the brain's reward system. This shift not only shields the mind from the exhaustion that comes from constant overexposure but also allows for deeper, more meaningful self-exploration. It's not about giving up pleasure, it's about reclaiming it in a way that nourishes your overall health rather than depleting it. On a deeper, emotional level, there's another compelling reason to reconsider pornography. The material commonly consumed by younger men often does not reflect the desires or realities of older adults. It creates a disconnect between what a man sees on the screen and what he truly needs or wants. The images portrayed in modern porn can lead to frustration, feelings of inadequacy, or even guilt, as they do not resonate with the physical and emotional needs of aging men. When the images on the screen don't align with real-life experiences, it's easy to fall into the trap of believing that something is wrong with you, rather than recognizing that the content simply doesn't match the phase of life you're in. This disconnect only serves to fuel a sense of alienation, preventing men from fully embracing their desires and their bodies. Being intentional and selective about what you consume, choosing content that reflects your actual needs, can radically improve how you feel about your body, your intimate desires, and your capacity for true pleasure. The goal of self-pleasure isn't just mindless stimulation. It's satisfaction, it's peace, it's connection. But it's also about emotional intimacy, connecting with yourself on a deeper, more profound level. Yet stimulation isn't the only element to consider. There's another, often overlooked risk that lies deep within the body. One that is especially prevalent among older men and, when neglected, can lead to long-term, serious consequences. Let's shift our focus to that now. If you are still watching this video and find these lessons useful, please comment 1 below to let me know that you are still here with me. Mistake 3. Not considering prostate health. As men age, especially after their 70s, there is one area of the body that increasingly demands attention: the prostate. This small but vital gland plays a significant role in both reproductive and urinary health, yet it's often neglected until issues arise. The prostate naturally enlarges with age, a condition known as benign prostatic hyperplasia, BPH, and while this is common, it can lead to a range of uncomfortable symptoms. For many older men, however, the changes happening in their prostate go unnoticed, and they continue their sexual routines, masturbation included, without adjusting to the realities of their body's new need. Improper self-pleasure habits can exacerbate these changes. Aggressive or hurried masturbation, especially when combined with too much pressure, delayed ejaculation, or a sense of urgency, can contribute to discomfort, inflammation, and in some cases, more severe complications. For older men with enlarged prostates, this can lead to chronic pelvic pain, increased inflammation, and even interfere with the early detection of more serious conditions like prostate cancer. Some men mistakenly believe that holding in ejaculation or forcing it can strengthen their stamina. In reality, this can create unnecessary tension in the pelvic floor muscles and surrounding nerves, exacerbating discomfort and prolonging recovery times. This mistaken belief about performance can be particularly dangerous for men already managing conditions like prostatitis or a history of urinary tract infections, UTIs. Health professionals advise that older men approach masturbation with a new mindset, one grounded in awareness and gentleness. It's about self-care, not self-testing. Gentle touch, adequate arousal time, and an unhurried release without strain are key to maintaining prostate health. More importantly, if you notice persistent pelvic pain, changes in your urinary habits, or any changes in the fluid, blood, or semen you produce, these signs should never be ignored. While these symptoms may not seem urgent now, they could be the early warning signs of underlying conditions that require medical attention. Protecting your prostate means respecting it. Masturbation can still be a valuable practice in maintaining prostate health, promoting circulation, and clearing out old fluid, but only if it's approached with the same mindfulness and care as any other aspect of health. Your body may not be what it was at 30, but it is still strong, capable, and deserving of the right care. Mistake 4. Masturbating out of loneliness or stress, rather than connection. As men grow older, emotional health becomes just as critical as physical health. In the later years of life, many men experience a profound shift in their emotional landscape, whether due to loss, isolation, or changes in their social environment. For men living alone or dealing with the grief of losing a partner, masturbation can become more than just a physical act. It can turn into a coping mechanism for emotional pain, an attempt to fill the void left by loneliness, stress, or deep-seated feelings of isolation. In these moments, masturbation can seem like an easy way to soothe emotional wounds or momentarily escape from the overwhelming silence of one's life. But what begins as an act of self-soothing can quickly become a trap. Using self-pleasure as a means to escape from emotions such as loneliness or sadness can prevent men from addressing the root cause of their feelings, leaving them trapped in a cycle of temporary relief that only reinforces their emotional detachment. Rather than serving as a source of connection, masturbation can become a shield, guarding against the vulnerability required to build deeper, more meaningful emotional connections with others. Emotional intimacy, in particular, is often left unaddressed, even though it holds the key to fulfilling relationship. For older men, masturbation should not be an outlet of desperation, but rather a practice of self-compassion and care. It should come from a place of connection with oneself, not as a means to fill emotional gap. The act of self-pleasure should be redefined as a celebration of the body, an acknowledgement of its needs, and a moment of reconnection. When practiced with intention and mindfulness, masturbation can become an act of self-love that nurtures both the body and the spirit. But, for that to happen, it's essential to address the underlying emotions that may be driving the behavior. Loneliness, grief, and stress deserve to be faced directly, with courage and compassion, rather than hidden behind the veil of a solitary habit. Reclaiming self-pleasure as an act of connection can be incredibly healing, but it requires the willingness to go beyond the surface and heal from within. While there is absolutely nothing wrong with finding comfort in your own body, it's essential to recognize the delicate line between healthy self-care and using physical release as a way to mask deeper emotional wounds. When masturbation evolves into a substitute for emotional connection, it loses its power as a restorative experience and becomes a hollow routine that no longer serves its true purpose. What was once a joyful expression of pleasure can quickly transform into a habit driven by sadness, anxiety, or the desperate desire to escape from unresolved emotions. Over time, this shift can dull the emotional reward of self-pleasure, leading to an unsettling feeling of emotional numbness. The act becomes mechanical, an automatic response rather than a meaningful connection with oneself. Some men find that instead of feeling more relaxed or satisfied, they are left feeling even more isolated and disconnected after self-pleasure, especially when it is used as a tool to avoid confronting difficult feelings. This cycle quietly deepens the sense of loneliness, making it harder to seek out real companionship, meaningful friendships, or even light-hearted social interactions. The problem is not with the act itself, but with the underlying motive. When masturbation is used as a coping mechanism for boredom, frustration, or sadness, it ceases to be about genuine pleasure and becomes a means of avoidance. The temporary comfort it brings fades quickly, leaving behind a sense of emptiness that lingers. Unfortunately, this emotional fallout is often not discussed among older men, many of whom were raised in generations where emotional needs were either ignored or dismissed. But here's the truth. Emotional hunger cannot be filled by physical release alone. Doctors and therapists agree that when you notice yourself turning to masturbation more out of habit or to escape emotional discomfort than out of desire, it's time to pause and reflect. A simple question, am I doing this because I feel good or because I don't want to feel something else, can unlock a deeper level of self-awareness that can be transformative. That moment of honesty with yourself can open a doorway to healing and a greater emotional connection. Sometimes, breaking the cycle doesn't require drastic changes. A simple shift in routine, like taking a walk outside, calling a friend, or rediscovering an old hobby, can offer the connection your heart is truly craving. The goal isn't to abandon masturbation, but to reclaim it as something healthy, fulfilling, and affirming. Your emotional well-being matters, and so does your sense of connection, whether that's with others or simply with yourself. Don't let loneliness dictate your relationship with your own body. True pleasure, like love, should never be a substitute for what's missing. Instead, it should feel like an enhancement of what is already whole within you. But while emotional motives can be powerful, there's another quiet challenge that affects both the mind and the body: the weight of performance worries. These worries may slowly steal your peace, replacing it with stress, self-doubt, and frustration. Let's delve into that next. If you are still watching this video and find these lessons useful, please comment too below to let me know that you are still here with me. Mistake 5. Ignoring erectile dysfunction or performance anxiety. As men age, changes in sexual function are common, yet they are often not embraced or fully understood. Many men over 70 experience shifts in how their body responds, such as erections becoming less firm, taking longer to develop, or not lasting as long as they once did. These changes are entirely natural, but far too many older men view them as signs of failure, mistakenly interpreting them as something broken or wrong within themselves. In response, many men begin using masturbation as a way to test their performance, turning an intimate, personal experience into a source of anxiety and self-judgment. Instead of enjoying the experience, the focus shifts entirely to whether they can achieve or maintain an erection, whether they're taking too long, or whether something is inherently wrong with them. This shift in mindset can turn a healthy act of self-pleasure into one driven by fear, shame, and pressure. The more a man worries about his performance, the more his body responds by releasing cortisol, the stress hormone. And here's the problem: cortisol and arousal are direct enemies. The more anxiety present, the harder it becomes for the body to relax and respond naturally. What begins as a simple concern can snowball into a recurring issue, creating a negative feedback loop of frustration, disappointment, and diminished satisfaction. Many men don't realize that this cycle isn't just psychological, it's deeply physical, too. The stress and anxiety that stem from performance concerns affect the nervous system and can lead to even more difficulties in sexual function. Ignoring erectile dysfunction or allowing it to silently dictate your emotional state is one of the most damaging patterns an older man can fall into. Instead of accepting these natural changes with grace and adapting accordingly, many men choose to suffer in silence, either too embarrassed or ashamed to discuss their concerns with a doctor or even acknowledge them internally. The truth, however, is this: these changes are not a reflection of your masculinity or worth. They are simply part of the aging process, a natural, inevitable shift in how the body functions. It's essential to recognize that these changes are not a verdict on your sexual identity or your capacity for intimacy. By addressing the emotional and physical aspects of erectile dysfunction or performance anxiety with awareness and care, men can reclaim their sense of sexual confidence, enhance their self-worth, and ultimately enjoy a healthier, more fulfilling relationship with both their bodies and their partners. They're simply biological changes at work. Natural, inevitable, and nothing to be ashamed of. And here's the good news: there are ways to support your sexual health without falling into the traps of shame, stress, or self-judgment. One of the most empowering shifts you can make is reframing masturbation as an act of self-care, not a performance test. It's not about how long or how hard, it's about how you feel. It's about reclaiming the comfort and joy of being in your own body, free from the weight of comparison or expectation. When this shift occurs, the pressure lifts, and you may find that your body responds more freely. The stress of performing fades, and the experience becomes more genuine, more fulfilling. And if there are concerns that go beyond stress, like persistent erectile difficulties or changes in sexual fluid, remember, it is not a sign of weakness to seek help. Reaching out for support is one of the most powerful things you can do for your overall health, your confidence, and your peace of mind. Seeking assistance when needed is a sign of strength, not failure. Performance doesn't define a man, presence does. The ability to connect with yourself, to be honest with who you are, and to find comfort in your own body, those are the true markers of well-being. As the years pass and your body continues to change, your capacity to feel, to experience joy, and to be at peace with yourself remains fully alive. Aging doesn't diminish your worth or your ability to experience pleasure. It's an opportunity to embrace a new way of being in your body, one that is more attuned to your needs, your rhythms, and your desires. Now that we've explored the 5 most common masturbation mistakes older men make, an important question remains. What practical steps can you take today to reclaim healthy, joyful, and safe sexual habits that truly support your well-being? Let's explore those next. Final thoughts. Sexual wisdom after 70. There comes a point in life when pleasure takes on a deeper, more meaningful role, not just physically, but emotionally and even spiritually. After 70, it's no longer about performance or trying to prove anything to yourself or others. It's about honoring the body that has carried you this far and truly listening to the wisdom it has to offer. It's about embracing touch with care, intention, and respect for yourself. You've earned the right to feel free in your own body, and you've earned the peace that comes from being at ease with who you are. Masturbation, when guided by awareness and self-respect, can still be a beautiful, affirming part of your life. It no longer needs to be rushed or judged. It simply needs to be real, honest, and yours. Growing older doesn't mean giving up intimacy. It means redefining it with grace and acceptance. These lessons are here to inspire you to live fully, to reconnect with yourself, and to explore intimacy in a way that brings you true joy. Now, I'd love to hear from you. Take a moment to reflect on what you've learned from this journey and share one insight or practice you plan to apply in your own life. Let's support each other on this path toward embracing these truths with compassion and understanding. As we wrap up today's discussion, I hope you feel empowered to embrace the changes that come with age and approach your body with a renewed sense of respect and awareness. Whether it's about redefining pleasure, addressing emotional needs, or taking care of your prostate health, every step towards self-care matters. Now, I'd love to hear from you. What's one thing you've learned today that you're going to take with you and apply to your own life? Please share your thoughts and reflections in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video and found it helpful, please leave your comment below, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our YouTube channel for more content designed to help you live your best life at every stage. Let's continue this journey of growth, understanding, and embracing the wisdom that comes with age. Thank you for watching.